at if else later. Now I have a few questions for you guys to understand these if else statements in a more better way. Okay, so for example, we have this scenario. If true, system.out.println, is it valid or not? Sorry,
Valid.
valid. Anybody has any doubt in this? With first one, this is valid. We can have true here like this, because at the end what we need is we need a boolean variable here, so we can say it is true, perfectly valid. What about second?
Valid.
Valid. Okay, so we can say from this point, with this if statement we are not doing any task, we are just saying semicolon. So what is this? This is called empty statement. Empty statement. So we can have number of semicolon in a program, so it is also valid. Okay, now next thing, if true, int x equals to 10, is it valid or
Yeah.
not?
Valid.
No,
All right.
not valid.
And what about fourth one?
Valid.
Valid. Okay.
Third one is not valid, right?
Sorry,
Third one is not valid, right?
why?
Because we should not do declaration without the brackets.
Who is speaking?
This is Mamta.
Mamta. Yeah, very good, Mamta. You got it. So that's why I haven't put tick mark here, right? Because this is invalid. We'll talk why it is invalid, right? This one is valid, but this is not valid, this one. So there might be some reason. Let's discuss that. So when we say if true, int x equals to 10, so what is happening basically? This statement is depend on this if condition, right? But you can see after this line there is no scope for x, like we cannot access x here at this line. We cannot write like this because the x is only accessible till line this, till this line. So basically there is no use, we cannot use it anyway. Getting my point? But here there might be some statement where we can use it. So whenever we are working with if, right, or even with else, even with some loop concept, we cannot have a declarative statement. What I mean by declarative, where we are declaring some variables with a condition like this. For example, I'm writing for loop and I'm doing some condition and I'm trying to do some declaration here, so we cannot do that. Does it make sense, guys? Please confirm. Baljit, you got it? So we cannot have a declarative statement without curly braces directly like this. All right, now we have one more scenario here, question number 5 basically. If true, right, then again what we have is if true, system.out.println hello, else system.out.println hi. Can you guys look into this and see if it is valid, and if it is valid, what will be the output?
Error will come.
Hello.
Error will come because
Hello will be executed infinity times.
Infinity times. We are
No,
not
no.
writing a loop.
Here,
Else if
after first if, only
Mhm.
second if will get executed.
Okay.
And you have to, if you put brackets, curly brackets on beside the first if,
Mm-hmm.
then it will be correct. Otherwise, it will show error, like comparison.
So you are saying it is a compilation error, right?
Yeah.
What is the reason behind it?
Immediately after if, first statement will execute without any error, and the second statement, okay.
Anybody has any opinion on this, or would you like me to explain?
No error will come, I think.
Because of curly braces, will it give compile time error?
No.
Then it will execute infinity times.
So infinity, how you are saying infinity? Because there is no loop.
Yeah, it won't execute infinity times.
So infinity concept won't be there. Okay. So let's understand it. Is it a valid statement?
actually it's a valid
Yes.
statement. If
Yeah. This
target-
one is also valid.
Yes.
And if both are true, so we can say the output will be
hello,
hello, right? But what if we have false here?
then it is high.
Sorry?
Then it will be high.
It will come out from the
It
entire
will be
loop.
high. Sorry?
It will come out from the entire, like it will come out and it will
Yes,
execute.
then there will be no output, because
No
the
output.
confusion here is the else we are talking about is not associated with the this if. It is
Yeah.
associated with the nearest or the above if.
Mm.
Getting my point? So when this is false, that means we don't have anything to do. Getting my point? So in this case there is no output. But when we say, let's say it is true, it is false, then high will be printed. You are getting my point, guys?
Yeah.
So make sure when we say else, so else is always associated to the above if or the nearest one. All right. Okay. Now what next I have is, we have int x equals to 10. If x is equals to 10, system dot out dot println hello, else system dot out dot println by.
6 in comparison, we have to
It's a
put double
compile time
equal.
error.
By
It's an error.
If double
This
equal,
is this
then
is
it's error will-
compilation, right? Because we are doing assignment here, right? And it should,
Relational
if you
operator.
want to do comparison, then it should be double equal,
Relational
right?
operator.
If it were like in C language, then it was a correct program, but in Java this is not allowed. Okay, anybody has any doubt, or should I move to seventh question? If anybody has, please ask quickly, otherwise I'll move to next.
Hi, Anju.
Okay.
If in the sixth statement,
Mhm.
what is that actually? If in the fifth one,
Fifth one. Okay, yes, tell me.
actually there below if statement only belongs to if statement, right? Only
So
one statement
this,
is
yeah, please complete, then I'll
yeah. Then
explain.
you're saying that the compiler won't understand whether this else belongs to first if or second if, right?
No, compiler understand it. You
Then
guys
what
are
will be the
this,
problem?
sorry,
Then what will be the problem here actually?
there is no problem. Like, if we talk about this particular program, output will be hello, right?
Yeah.
But when I say this is false here, In that case, no output. Okay. Now,
Okay, in that case,
sorry.
actually, in that case, what will happen? The compiler won't understand.
Yeah, what will happen? Let me just tell you. So the
Yeah.
condition itself says false, right? When we are saying false, that means these two statements are associated with this particular if, right? And this else is associated with this if, not the this one. So basically, we have a statement with this statement, these two statement, and this else is associated with this one. So basically, there is no statement in else case of this. Like there is nothing. You are getting confused in this. So what is happening here? This else is associated with this. Once this condition will be fail or false, then only this particular else will be executed. Getting my point? Let me just put arrows here.
Yeah,
And
understood.
is it fine now?
Yes, Sanju.
Okay, fine. All right, thank you. Now next we have is boolean a equals to true. Okay. Then we are saying if a is equals to false, system.out.println hello, and in else case we are saying system.out.println by. Can you tell
In
me,
this case,
is it
else what
valid?
is executed?
Sorry.
Only
Else what
the
is
else part will execute.
It's a
executed?
compilation error.
Okay.
Like here, all equals to we should put, I think, in F.
This is again
Compilation error, right?
assignment operator we are using, right? And
Yeah.
ideally it should be compilation error. So what is happening basically when we say a is equals to false, that means we are passing a here. Like in this case, we were passing x here, which is equals to 10. So assignment will be done, then it will be 10 here in this bracket. Getting my point? That's why this is not a valid condition. 10 is not a valid condition, and in this case we will get a compilation error.
So by these cases, so if condition should be uh, assigned, we should be use assigned operator, right? Not equal operator. We can't do assigning here in if condition, right?
Which question you are talking about? 6 or 7?
Like for both wherever we are getting compile time error. So whenever
No,
we are
this
declaring,
is perfectly valid.
then
And
how?
yeah, that's what I am discussing. Like in this case, when we have as x is equals to 10, it is not getting compiled, we are getting compilation error here. But in this case 7, this is the similar thing, but we are not getting any error. It is fine, and we will get by in this case. So I'm explaining that reason. So what is happening here basically, you can understand it like this. It will be converted like if 10, after the assignment x will become 10. So what we are doing basically, or let me just take 20 here, for example. I'm doing 20 here, so x will become 20, right? Or let me write it, it will be x. So x value now is 20, which is not valid. Here we should have only boolean. Does it make sense?
Okay.
All right, so that's why we are getting compilation error. Let's do the similar thing here. What we have is a is equals to false, so we can write it like this. Initially a was true, but what I'm doing, I'm writing fa, and we can write what is the value in a right now, false. We can say we are writing if false. So false
So,
means else will be executed. Yes, tell me.
so here we are reassigning, right? So that's why it is giving in above one compile time error, and here is executing, right?
No, not
Initially,
right.
x is equal 10.
It is also
Same,
reinitialize. It
yeah,
is
x
also
is equal,
reinitialize.
same thing, right? We are reassigning.
Yes, because the thing is Boolean we are using in this case. That's why it is working with assignment.
We cannot use double equal to for Boolean, right?
We can, we can. The next question is gonna be same. Let me just show you. Yeah. So this is basically just to confuse you. Like you might have kind of questions. When we will write program, we will not write this kind of code. We will just say this. If we have to do some assignment, we will do it before that. Okay.
In real time, these kind of programs will be used like a Boolean. Last case,
This the eighth
eighth,
one.
eighth and seventh.
Yes, we can use, but generally, when we have Boolean, so we just write it like this. Itself, it is true. So there is no meaning to comparing like true equal to true. At the end, it will give us a true answer, which we already have. If we see here, if we say just say B, getting my point. So better way to write is like this. And if you want to compare it with false, so you can say if not B. Does it make sense?
Yes.
B equals to true, or if B both are same. If B equal to false, when B is a Boolean, I'm talking in case of Boolean only, right? When B is a Boolean, so we can write it like this, or we can write it if not B. Getting my point?
Yes, Anju. In that case, we can use any expression that evaluates to true or false, right?
Correct. You got
So we
it.
can use the expression also, right?
Sorry, come again.
We can use expression also, right? In the if statement
Expression, which kind of expression?
that evaluates to true or false.
Yes, we can. Like, uh, for example, for Boolean, what we will have is equal to or not equal to, or just like this one or this one. Like we cannot use these operator we have seen yesterday. We cannot use these operator for Boolean. But if you are using integer, float, character, then you can obviously write something like this. For example, a is an integer. I am writing a greater than b and b greater than c, something like that. We can use, but this shouldn't be Boolean. Make sense?
Yeah, yes, Anju.
Okay. So from 8th, what would be the answer when we have Boolean b equals to true? If b is equals to true, system dot out dot println hello, else system dot out dot println by.
Hello.
Hello, because the condition is true. Perfect. Okay, now we have next question, question number 9. In this case, what we have is x is equals to 10, we are saying if x, system dot out dot println hello, else by. Is it valid?
No, it's not valid.
It's not valid because here we are writing if 10 and it must be a boolean, right?
Bull.
That's why it is not valid. Okay, we have I think one more scenario. Okay, I have one condition here. If true, then do this and this, else this. Is it valid?
No.
Why?
Uh, we can't declare two statements without bracket in if loop.
If is not a loop, it is a selection statement or decision making statement. Okay,
In if condition, right?
when you say loop, so loop are basically we have for, do, while.
So an if statement. So in if statement, we can't declare two statements without braces, curly braces, right?
So what is the problem in this question right now?
We two println statements are there, right?
Okay, let me just write it here. If true, system dot out dot println, let me just say line 1, system dot out dot println line 2. Okay, I'm keeping 2 lines, right? And let me just compile it once. Java C test dot Java compiled, and I'm running it now. So you can see we can keep both the statement, right? Are you getting my point?
Yes, but when we can't declare two statements inside if.
But
Yeah,
here you
actually
can
the second line will become as a sequential line, right?
yes, yes, right. So
If
think
there
it
is
again.
a else after second line, it won't be executed, right?
Mm,
What will happen
First,
for that else part?
first of all, think is it valid or not?
It's valid.
No, it is not valid. Let me tell you the reason. When we are not
Alone
giving,
it is valid, like without else part. If else part is there, it will give a
yeah,
compilation error.
yes, yes. So basically, we can see it's a misplaced else, because when we use if else, there shouldn't be any sequential statement. This statement belongs to if,
Hello?
this belongs to, let's say we are writing it into main, so it belongs to main because it is sequential. Execution of this line depends on this if condition, but execution of this line doesn't depend on this condition because this is not associated with this if statement. So whenever there is something, some sequential statement between if and else, then this else will be misplaced, right? And we cannot have misplaced else in a Java program or in C or in C++ as well. Okay, we can have if else together, like without if there we cannot have else. Getting my point? So when we say if true, system dot out dot println line 1, so just assume this curly braces here is our if part getting end, right? So we have this line which is sequential, that means this else will create problem. But if it were like curly braces, then basically the if is ending at this point, and then we can definitely have this. Getting my point? We cannot have misplaced else in our program. Let me just write system dot out dot print ln. This is line 3. Let me recompile. You can see else without if. Getting my point? But if we have something like this, then we can have. Let me compile it again. It's working fine. We are getting line 1 and line 2, right? And if the condition is false, we're getting line 3. So whenever we want more than one statement to keep with if or even with else, we should use curly braces, right? Otherwise we don't really need it. So these are basically required when we have more than one statement to keep with if or else. Make sense? Now one more thing, let me put a semicolon here. In this case, what will happen?
It will jump to else.
So I was talking about when we say semicolon, I mean the first semicolon. That means now if is getting end here, and this else belongs to which if? Because there are sequential statement. These are sequential statement now because we have semicolon added here. Getting my point? Again, it will not compile just because of this semicolon. Make sense, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So generally, we don't really keep semicolon, but by mistake, if you put, then you will see compilation error. Okay. Any doubt so far?
All clear.
All right. Okay. So now next thing we have is, let me just clear it up, or let me open a new slide. Switch case. Okay. So switch is another selection statement. For example,
Sir, are we
you were sorry.
sorry, I have a question. We haven't like in detail went over the loops, right? Yet.
Yeah, loop will come after this switch.
Got it. Okay.
All right. So to make some decision, what we can have is if else ladder. Similarly, to make some decision, what we can use is switch and case. We'll see the difference, like when to use which one. For example, I have a scenario like we want to print Sunday for 1, Monday for 2, and so on, right? User will enter a number like 1 2 3 2 7, and based on that, what we will do is we will show Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. So how we can use, we can say like if, let me say number which is basically gonna enter by a user is equals to 1, then use, let's say Sunday, then we will say else if num equal to 2, then just say Monday, and in similarly we will have more cases here, and at the last we will have else if num equal to 7, just say Saturday. Are you getting this? We can achieve this function using this or not? Tell me yes or no. Yes, we can. Okay. Now,
I have a
what
question.
if? Yes, please.
I know it can be like stupid question, but why do we have to put like if number equals 2 times equals?
Because we are checking if the number, this number is basically entered by user,
Okay.
and we are comparing if user has entered 1. If user has entered 1, this condition will be true, right? If it is true, then print Sunday. Are you getting my point?
Yes. So it's for more like checking.
Yeah, we can say checking, not O, checking for equality.
Mm.
If both are equal, then do this. Okay. Now, Gurpreet, yes, we have a choice. We can and it with else if. There is nothing mandatory to have an else case. So else is basically when we want a default choice, like if nothing match, do this. So in our case, we have only 7 choices, 1 to 7. We don't really need this else at the end. So we can have else if ladder without else part when we don't really have a default choice, like if nothing matches between 1 to 7, then just do else. Yes, for example, user has entered accept anything 1 to 7, we can have something like in else case here, that will just say wrong input, but this is not mandatory, right? But to make your program more interactive, more communicative, we can have this default choice here in the else. Like if user has entered, let's say 0, -1 or 8, in all these cases we will say wrong input. Make sense? Okay. Now the thing is, for example, user has entered 7. What we are doing here, we are checking it 7 times. Like first we will check if number is equals to 1, we will get false because it is 7. Then we will go to the next else if, where we will see n equals to 2, again false, and we will make comparison till n is equals to 7, and here we will get true, and corresponding day will be printed like Saturday. So in this case, how many comparison we are doing? 7. Getting my point? So there is a better way to do this. Let me just discuss that with switch. You got the problem statement, like what is the disadvantage of using if and else?
Yeah, it
So
will compile 7 times, you're saying. I mean,
not
compare 7.
compile, it
Compare,
will not
compare,
compare. Yeah,
compare.
comparison will be done 7 times. So obviously, if we think in terms of memory and resources or time, so it will take more time in execution. All right, even it's a very less program, we have to do a simple small task here. But what if we have number of cases, right? Generally we will don't have more than 20 even more than 10 condition at the same time at a place. But if we think like if it now it grows like 2000 or 20,000, for example, I'm just assuming, for example, you are building a large application and you are writing this kind of a statement multiple times based on some scenarios. So obviously that will grow the complexity, time complexity, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. So we have a better way to do this, which is switch. So let me just write the syntax here. Switch. Then here we will have choice. Then we will have curly braces, and further we will have case. So like case 1, there will be some statement, and we will have break. Case 2, we will have some statement and then break. So this statement, let me say action 1, action 2, and we will have similarly a number of actions, let's say case n. Okay, and action n, and then break. And we can have one more case which is not mandatory, default action. So this is the syntax basically. Now if we want to write a program which will basically print Sunday, Monday, Tuesday based on user input, how we will write it? So let me just write a program here quickly. We have scanner, let me say kbd is equals to new scanner. Do we use continue statement also in switch? We don't use continue in switch statement. We can have break inside a switch statement. Soumya, you got it?
Okay, sir, got it. Thank you.
Okay, so we cannot have continue statement inside a switch. Scanner kbd equals to new scanner. Then we need to connect it with keyboard. Okay, so that's why I'm saying system.in. And for that, what we need to do is we need to import. Today I'm not using Eclipse, java.util.scanner.
In Eclipse, you don't have to write manually, right? Import java.util.scanner. You just click on the
Yeah,
scanner.
generally it does lots of the things by default.
Got it. And other question, like, why did you like put in the end system.in?
System.in. So
Yes.
system.in basically represents our keyboard, because we are taking input via keyboard. Like we can take input from a file. For example, in our system we have a file. We can take input from there as well. So right now in our case, what we want is we want to take input via keyboard. That's why we are using system.in, which is basically represents keyboard. Make sense?
Okay. Got it.
All right. Enter any number between 1 to 7. Okay, for reading a number, what we need to do is kbd dot next int, and let me take it into n, or let me just say it day of week. So for this, what I am doing is I'm writing day of week. Let's assume the day of week we are taking here is Sunday, or you can take Monday as well. So it's up to you. Like case one. So when it is one, just do system.out.println Sunday, and then just say break. And similarly, we will have more cases here. Case 1, case 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. When you write code, so make sure your code looks indented. Like you can see at my case, you can identify which line is basically from in which block. Now Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it is looking more readable, but what if I start every line from this point? It will not be readable in that case. Okay, so this is the program we have, and let me add one default case. Default. Invalid day entered. Let me just compile it. So it is asking for a number. Let me take 9. It is saying invalid day entered because the day we have is 1 to 6, 7. Now I'm running it again. I'm taking this time 3. So it is saying Tuesday. Does it make sense? Okay, so what happens when we works with switch keys? It looks for the matching case and just go at that point and execute that particular case. But in case of if else, it make number of comparison to reach to conclusion, like which one be the case we will execute. Getting my point, guys? In case of switch, it generally goes to the case directly. Which case? The matching case. Like for day of week we are getting 1, so it will just simply go to Sunday and print that case. If we are using 7, then it will directly go to the case 7 and will execute the corresponding case. Now if you want to like uh, you might be curious, like is it really going to the particular case or not? So what I can do is I'm reviewing these breaks. So from this point we will learn one more concept that is called fall through. There is no break for now. Okay, now it is asking for a number. What I'm saying is 5. I need to compile it. Let me compile it first. I'm saying 5. So from this point, you can say we are getting Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So when I'm saying 5, it is getting started by Thursday. So one thing we can say, it is just going to the case directly and starting from that point. Make sense? Yes or no?
Yes, Sanju.
Prasanti, it will not execute all the cases, yes, but it will execute all the rest of the cases which falls below the matching case. Like in this case, you can see when we say 5, so 5 is basically Thursday, and after this, all the cases are getting executed. Even the default is also getting executed. You can say invalid day entered. Let me run it again and let me take this time 3. So you can see now it's getting started from Tuesday. Getting my point? So from this we can say it's directly go to that point and start executing that case. And if there is no break statement there with the case, so what will happen? The corresponding next case next to that will be executed as well. Let me just remove these breaks. Okay, so we don't have break for case 1, 2. Rest of the cases, for rest of the cases we have break. Let me compile it again. I'm saying 1, so you can see this time we are getting Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So what is happening here? The case that was matched was 1, so it executed Sun, and there is no break, that's why it executed case 2 as well, and there is no break, it has executed case 3 as well, then it found a break. So break, what it does basically, break means if we are using with switch, so it means keep or go outside from the switch. So this break will lands here. Make sense, guys?
Yeah. What term you used, Anuj? Fall through?
This is, yeah,
Okay.
fall through. So fall through will be happen when there is no break you have given. So whenever writing a case, make sure you are writing breaks properly. Getting my point? Now in some cases you might get asked in interview or in some programs like this, what will be the output if we say 1? So in case of 1, it will be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. What we say, what if we pass a day of week as 2, then it will be Monday, Tuesday. What if we pass 3, then it will be Tuesday only. And for 4, it would be Wednesday, like this. And what if we are passing a wrong choice, then it will be default. From this point, one more thing, can we have default anywhere else? Like at this time we are keeping it in bottom. What if I am keeping it here? Okay, and we have properly breaks implemented. Now let me just compile it and let me run it again. So you can see it is asking for a number. I am saying 0, which is not a matching case. So which one is the matching case now? Default, because there is no case matching. And you can say, see, we are getting invalid day entered, and after that Sunday. Why? Because generally we keeps this default statement at the bottom, and our program flows like down. So if you want to keep default statement somewhere else, not in the bottom, so you should properly use break statement. Let me just add it here. So if you have default not at the bottom or somewhere else, so what you should do, you should need to do is add a break statement. Let me run it again. Let me take 0 again. So this time you can see the output. We are just getting invalid day entered, but in last run we were getting Sunday as well. So you got it. Like, can we have default somewhere else instead of just bottom? If we do so, what will happen? And what will happen, how we can prevent that? You got all these points? Anybody has any doubt till this point? Clear, clear, clear. Very good. Okay. Now, what can be passed? Let me just clear this annotation. What can be passed as a choice? What can be, I mean, what could be the input of this choice? So we can pass byte, sort, int, and char. Okay. Now, why not long, float, double, and boolean? So let me take boolean first. So when we say boolean, there can be two cases only, like true and false. Only these two cases. That means we cannot have more than these two cases. So then what is the benefit of basically using this? Just go for if else. That's why it is not allowed. Getting my point? With boolean we can have only two choices, true or false. Now double. So when we say 0 and let's say 1, so 0 0.1, 0 0.11, 0 0.111, 0 0.112. So there are infinite numbers that will fall in this range, just between 0 to 1 when we are talking double or float. And we don't really need these number of cases, like case 0.1, case 0.11, case 0.111. Between 1 and 0 there might be infinite number of cases. Are getting my point? That's why double and float is also not allowed. Now let's talk about this long. So the maximum data type we have here is integer. Okay, which is basically 2 raised to the power 15 in minus 2, 15 minus 1 in plus, which is itself a huge number. Like we generally have like 4 to 5 cases, or let me take 10, 20 more. I haven't seen like more than 10 cases in my last 8 years career. So for that, int is sufficient. It will hold a large number. Why we need long? That's why we can have only these 4 type of values passed as a choice. But this is applicable till Java 1.4. Now there are something that also can be used as a case inside switch, which is basically, so for byte, sort, int, char, when we are talking Java 1.4. So these are the 4 allowed type. Now when we say 1.5, in this version of Java there was a concept came that is called auto boxing. So what is basically auto boxing? Converting primitive to object type. automatically. It's called auto boxing. So corresponding wrapper classes like byte, short, integer, and character can also be passed as a choice in switch case. Okay, and from Java 1.7 onwards, there was one more addition that is called string. And in 1.5, enum also was introduced that can be passed uh, uh, as a choice in switch, but I haven't seen this anywhere in my career, this one, but yes, we can use it. And from Java 7th onward, we can use string as well. Any doubt till this point? "32 right for int." You are right. Sorry, guys. I did a mistake here. It's 32. Because size of integer is 4 byte. So it will be not 32 exactly, it would be 31 because the left most bit is for storing a sign. So we left with 31 bits. So it is 31 actually. Thanks for adding your point, Pravina. I was doing it wrong, but the correct answer is 2 raised to the power 31 into minus, and 2 raised to the power 31 minus 1 into plus. Thanks for your input. Okay, guys, anybody has any doubt in switch? No doubt. I believe no doubt. If anybody has, please ask. Clear. Very good. Baljit, you got an idea about switch?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Now, when to use switch and when to use if else? Okay, let me take one scenario. So we have done a program in past, like when the student percentage was greater than 75, we were showing pass with honors. When percentage greater than equals to 60 and percentage less than equal to 75, say pass with, or it is just less than symbol here, pass with first division. Okay, percentage greater than equals to 50 and percentage less than 60, then say second division. Okay, so we want to write this program, right? If we go with switch, so what will happen, like for this you can see, or let me take this one, 75, let me include 75 as well. So 75, 76, 77, 78, till 100. We have 25 cases, right? And if we include 75 as well, then it will be 26. Getting my point? So for similar type of operation, we need to make how many cases? 26 cases. Getting my point, guys? Case 75, print pass with honors. Case 76, print pass with honors. Case 77, print pass with honors. For this, we have like 15 cases, and we are doing same kind of thing. If we go with switch, so switch is not a better idea to use in this scenario. Make sense? Why it is not better choice? Must go with if else. So when we are working on a range, better idea to use if else. And when you are working on exact number, case number choice, then switch is better. Like in our scenario that we have just seen, we were having 7 cases, 1 to 7, and in all the cases we will have a different kind of functionality. Then better to use switch. Does it make sense? Anybody has any doubt in this?
No,
All clear?
all clear.
Okay. So that's all about switch. Now, okay, we have seen one statement inside this, which is basically this break. So break we can have with switch statement or with a loop. So we have seen like how to use break statement with the switch. We'll see how to use break statement with loop very soon. Okay. And instead of these two areas like switch or loop, we cannot have break anywhere else. Like in this program, switch and case, if we, let me just post this code to you in chat so that you can copy it. Okay, now in this program we just have break statement. Let me try to compile it. So you can see error, class interface or enum expected. Code is not itself getting executed, sorry, compiled. So that means this break is causing an issue. Let me comment it and let me try to compile it again. So 1 second, I think we have extra braces here, so let me just open it and see what is the error. Yeah, the error is basically break outside switch or loop. That's what I was saying. We can have a break statement inside a switch or inside a loop. You get my point? Please confirm, guys. When to use continue statement in switch? We cannot use continue statement in switch, Saroja. We'll cover that part into loop. Like we can use continue statement in a loop. Also similar to this break statement, we cannot have continue outside a loop. continue outside a loop. So for this you can see it is saying switch or loop, means we can have break statement inside switch or loop, but continue can be inside only a loop. We cannot have continue statement inside a switch. Make sense, Soroja? Perfect. All right, so next topic is the iterative statement. Loop. So loop, why we need loop? Whenever we want to make some repetitive task, or we want to do a similar kind of thing multiple times, we can use loop. There are 4 kind of loop in Java. First one is for loop, then we have while, then we have do while, and one more is there, that is called for each. It is basically works for iterable. So we haven't discussed what is an iterable, so just ignore for now. When we will see array and collection, we will use this loop. So please make a note, like when I'll discuss about array or collection, I'll show you how this for each works, because we need iterable kind of object to use this loop, and this was introduced in Java 1.5. So we can say it's a feature added in Java 1.5 version. Okay, now let me write the syntax for loop. So for what we will have is initialization, then we will have some condition, then we will have, generally we will have increment or decrement here. Okay, and here will be our statement 1 2 n. I'm keeping curly braces here, that is called loop body. Okay, so if you want to keep more than one statement inside loop, then you need to use these curly braces, and if you have only one statement to keep here, then you can just leave it. Okay, similar to the if else concept that we have just seen. Okay, now let's see how it works. So when we say initialization, this step executes only once. Then this is basically step 1 for a loop. Then condition will be checked number of time until it is not false. Once it is false, then program flow will go here after the loop body when it is false. When it is true, just go inside loop body, do this stuff. From this point, go back again. So we can say step 2, and this is step 3, increment or decrement, and just repeat these steps 2 and 3, and keep repeating until this condition is not false. Okay, now let me take an example and dry run it with you. Okay, so quickly look this syntax once, then I'll move to an example. I think with an example you will learn it quickly. Let me take an example. Mm, I want to print number between 1 to 5. Okay, so how I can write it? For integer I is equals to 1, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus. System dot out dot println I. Okay, now let's execute this. This is our output window. Okay, we will print our output here. Int I means make a variable I and initialize it with 1. This statement done, so we can say this was for one time execution. We have just covered it. We have created one variable I with the value 1. Now go here, do check if I is less than equal to 5. So I is basically 1. I can write it like this, or let me take one more column here. When I was 1, condition was like this, which is true. So for true I'm writing true T. So when it is true, go inside and print the value in I. So this is our output window. I'm printing 1 here. Okay, now from this point go back, do I plus plus. So when we say I plus plus means the current value in I is 1, increment this value by 1, so it will become 2. Now we'll go here again, I is equals to 2. We will check I less than equal to 5. Yes, it is. So again it is true. When it is true, go inside, do print I. So what is the value in I here is 2, print it. Okay, now just go back, do I plus plus. So when we say I plus plus, it will become 3. Okay, now go to this step, do check if I less than equal to 5. So I for this moment is 3. And when we say, let me just write instead of this 1, 2, 3, which is again true, isn't it? Go inside and print the value in I. So we'll get 3. Now go back, do I plus plus, I will become 4. 4 less than equal to 5. Yes, true. Okay, then it is true. Go inside and print the value in I, which is basically 4. So 4 will be printed. Now from this point go back again and do I plus plus. I is now 5. Make I equals to 5. Check 5 is equals to 5. Yes, true. If it is true, then just go inside and print 5. Okay, now we have printed 5. We will go back here and we are saying I plus plus, I will become 6. Getting my point? I is 6 now. Now I am saying 6 is less than equal to 5, which is false. When it is false, go outside the loop. That means program has been completed, and here is our output. So when the condition was false, when the value of I was 6. Does it make sense, guys? Anybody has any doubt in this, like how it works? Feel free to ask. We have 8 minutes to discuss. Baljeet, any doubt in this?
No, not on this one.
All right, awesome.
Already have idea.
Anyone who is a fresher, who is doing programming first time, might have some doubt in this. Please feel free to ask. Please give us 4-5 questions to do at home. Okay, perfect. So note it down. Write a program that will print even numbers between 25 to 75. Write a program that will print even numbers between 25 to 75. This is program number 1. Write a program that will print sum of first n number. So n would be entered by user. Like if I say 100, so what I want is sum of 1 to 100, like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus dot 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 100, right? Third question is write a program to check if a number entered by user is prime or not. Okay, so these are the 3 questions. Now let me add more if you have noted down these 3. So everybody knows what is a prime number? I think you all know what is a prime number. Okay. Question 4 is write a program to check if a number entered by user is an Armstrong number or not. Do you know what is an Armstrong number?
No, I don't.
Okay, let me explain what is an Armstrong number.
That
So,
means a
sorry?
number that is when it reverse also the it will produce the same, right?
No,
Like
this is something different. So a
okay.
number whose single digits cube and their sum is equal to the same number. Let me take 153. Okay, so when I say 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube, which is basically 1 plus 125 plus 27. which is equals to 157. So we can say this is a Armstrong number. Like we have 370, 407, right? This is question 4. I think 4 questions for tomorrow is enough. Okay.
Yeah, this looks tough.
Okay, let me add one more then. Write a program to check if a number entered by user is palindrome or not. So palindrome number is like 121. You can read it in this direction or in this direction, it would be same, right? This is not question 4, it is 5th question. Okay, so try all these questions. So in most of the questions you will be using loop, the one we have discussed, and the if statement. Okay. Okay, I have one more thing about for loop that I think we should discuss. So when working with for, we were looking like there would be initialization, and there would be condition, then there would be increment or decrement that we were just discussing. So ideally it should be like this, but it is not mandatory. Like we will have initialization every time here, and this increment decrement every time here. What we can write a for loop with 2 semicolons like this. You will put condition here. So this part you can take before the loop, and the increment decrement part can go here inside the loop, and condition will remain here. Okay, so we can write it like this as well. For example, let me just write the program that we just dry run. For int I is equals to 0, I less than equal to 5, I plus plus, system dot out dot println, and I'm saying I instead of I'll say start from 1 and go till 5. This is the program that we were just discussing. Let me compile it. Let me run it. So you can see we are getting 1 2 3 4 5. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm taking this here inside the loop itself, the plus plus part, and this is I'm taking outside the loop as well. This is, let me take till 10 this time so that you can see the difference as well. Like you might say sir is showing the old version of the program. So now we are getting 1 to 10. Does it make sense? Like we can write a for loop like this as well. And when we say this, like 2 semicolons, nothing right over here, so it will become an infinite loop. So I is basically 1, it will print I, and I will be increased. So I will keep increasing and this loop will never end. Can you see it? Because there is no condition that will terminate or end this loop.
Then how to terminate that execution?
Using Control C.
Okay.
All right. Like I did. Control C. So there might be something like this. So this is treated as an infinite loop. And what if I have this semicolon added after this loop? So it is again like when we were saying if condition and then we were putting semicolon, that means this will be executed. Okay, just think about it, guys. Like, what is this? I have
So
added
the
one semicolon here. Sorry.
for loop ends there, and the both two statements are sequential statements.
Okay, but the thing is, this is an infinite loop, and we don't have anything to do inside the loop. And we can see these statements are not reachable because our program will never reach to this statement. Let me just compile it and see what happens. So you can see unreachable statement, like this semicolon says this is an infinite loop. That means the program will never be able to read or execute this line. Getting my point? Tell me, yes or no?
Yes, Anju.
Okay, fine. Okay, what if we have like I less than 10? In this case, this is not an infinite loop now. In this case, what will happen?
After 10, that program will stop.
Okay, again, it is an infinite loop. You can see because this I is 1 and 10 is 10. So 1 always will be less than 10. You getting my point? Because it's not getting here. It's not going here to do some increment thing. Getting my point?
Can you please explain it, Anju? How it is infinite?
Okay. So we have one semicolon here. So that means we are checking if I is less than 10. Okay. So basically it means 1 is less than 10. Right?
Yes,
So
yes.
every time when we will check if it is less than 10, so it will always be true. But you can see here like in this program the cursor is blinking. Otherwise what will happen, like when we say and this, so we'll get, let me just remove it, like for example, let me just keep it I plus plus here for a moment. So once the program finishes their execution, what happens in that case? You got something like this, right? But when it is not there and I'm compiling it, now I'm running it, so you can see the cursor is keep blinking because it is checking if I is less than 10. 1 is less than 10. Yes, it is. Then do what? Nothing to do. Again check the condition. Condition is again true. Then what to do? Nothing to do because there is a semicolon. Make sense?
Yeah, understood. Actually, incrementation part is not there. That's why it's infinite loop, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so generally we don't keep semicolon here. Okay, this is just for your understanding. Like if you got something like this, like some of the people from this batch were saying that they will be preparing for OCJP or the certification exam. So this kind of questions might be there.